Lightroom has a great import feature called Auto Import. You'll find it under the File menu called Auto Import, and today we'll set up the Auto Import settings. Okay, so Lightroom looks for a watched folder for the download photos here, and I'm going to choose a folder and go to my desktop, create a folder called Download Images here, hit Create, and then choose. Notice in the dialog box now the watched folder has a path, Desktop Download Images here. The destination for the auto-imported photos is going to be the Pictures folder by default. I'm going to choose my archive on my primary drive A and ask it to put it in my JFC archive folder and say Choose. So the two paths, one to the desktop, download photos here. The second path is JFC archive folder. Don't need to do any file renaming, no develop settings, and I'm going to put in my copyright info, and I'm going to change the initial previews to standard. Now that I've set up the auto import settings, I can now enable the feature. So here's the deal. I'm going to minimize this for a second so that you can see. Here's my SD card mounted on the desktop. I move inside the SD card to the DCIM folder and select all the images and place them in the Download Images Here folder. So it will copy these from the card, and I can kick up my feet, have a glass of wine after a long day of shooting, and let Lightroom do the auto import. So after it's finished copying, I'll launch into Lightroom, and immediately Lightroom will detect images in the Download Images Here folder, the quote watched folder, and it will create the auto imported photos folder right here. Those images are now automatically being downloaded, and then in this case the previews are being generated as well. Okay, once the download is finished to the auto imported photos folder, here's how easy it can be. I select all the images in the grid. I move to the archive folder. I select create folder inside the archive. In this case, I'm going to include the selected photos and call it Yalumba. It's a vineyard in Australia. And hit create. Notice that the auto imported folder is now empty, and all the images that were imported are now moved to the Yalumba folder within my archive. How cool is this? How easy is this to manage your data through Lightroom?